Captain Eric Mason stared out the viewport of the transport shuttle as it approached the massive space station. The structure gleamed like a silver spider against the blackness of space, its 8 arms stretching outward from a central hub. This was Concordia Station, headquarters of the Starborn legions and seat of the Galactic Council. "Still can't believe they called you here," said Lieutenant Kate Winters, who sat beside him. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a regulation bun, her blue eyes fixed on her friend with concern. "A captain doesn't get summoned by the council unless something's very wrong, or very right." Eric nodded but said nothing. At 42, he had served the Earth Alliance with distinction for 20 years, but he was far from remarkable. He commanded a mid-sized patrol vessel on the Outer Rim, important work, but nothing that would catch the council's attention. The shuttle docked with a soft thud. A tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms waited for them. Eric recognized the species as Archean, one of the founding races of the council. "Captain Mason," the alien said, its voice a musical hum. "I am First Secretary Clotal. Please follow me. The council awaits." Kate squeezed his arm. "Good luck," she whispered. "I'll wait here." Eric followed Clotal through gleaming corridors filled with beings from 100 different worlds. Humans had only joined the galactic community 75 years ago, and they remained a curiosity to many of the older species. The council chamber was a vast circular room. 13 representatives sat on elevated platforms, each from one of the senior races that governed the thousands of star systems under council protection. Humans, being newcomers, had no seat among them. "Captain Eric Mason of Earth," announced Clotal. Eric stepped forward and bowed as he had been taught. "Captain," said the Zentari representative, a being of living crystal whose body sparkled under the chamber lights. "We have reviewed your service record extensively." "It is adequate," rumbled the massive reptilian representative of the Krath Dominion. Eric kept his face neutral. From the oldest spacefaring races in the galaxy, adequate was nearly a compliment when directed at a human. "The supreme commander of the Starborn legions died 3 days ago," said the Zentari abruptly. Eric blinked in surprise. Commander Gurin had been a legendary figure, the military leader of the combined forces that protected Council space. "We have selected you as his replacement," continued the Zentari. A murmur ran through the observers in the chamber. Eric felt like the floor had disappeared beneath him. There must be some mistake," he managed to say. "I'm just a patrol captain." "There is no mistake," said the Krath representative. "The decision is unanimous." Eric looked from one alien face to another, searching for some explanation. No human had ever held such a high position. It was absurd. There were admirals and generals with decades more experience. "You begin immediately," said Clotal, stepping forward. "Your personal effects will be transferred to the commander's quarters." 2 hours later, Eric stood in his new office, still in shock. The room was massive, with view screens showing real-time data from across the galaxy. Kate had been allowed to join him as his aide. "This is wrong," Eric said. "They've skipped over thousands of more qualified officers." Kate studied a data tablet she'd been reviewing. "Eric, something's happening in the outer systems. Reports of lost colonies, strange energy readings. Why would they put me in charge now?" Eric wondered. The door slid open, and a slender alien with pale skin and silver eyes entered. Eric recognized her as a Meridian, a telepathic species known for their diplomatic skills. "I am Nira Voss, your intelligence officer," she said. "And you're right to be suspicious, Commander. The Council doesn't make such appointments lightly." "Then why me?" Eric asked. Nira's silver eyes seemed to look through him. "Because, Commander, they expect you to fail. There is a crisis coming that they believe cannot be stopped, and they would rather have a human take the blame." "What crisis?" Kate demanded. Nira touched a control, and the main view screen filled with an image of utter darkness moving across the stars. "That," she said simply. "And it's coming for us all." Eric stared at the darkness moving across the view screen. It wasn't just an absence of light. It seemed to consume the stars themselves, leaving nothing behind. "What exactly am I looking at?" he asked. Nira's silver eyes reflected the eerie display. "We call them the Void. 3 star systems have already gone silent. No distress calls, no survivors. Just nothing." Kate moved closer to the screen. "How long have you known about this threat?" "The Council detected the first signs 6 months ago," Nira said. "Commander Guran was preparing our defenses when he died." "Died or was removed?" Eric asked sharply. Nira's expression gave nothing away. His shuttle exploded during a routine inspection. "The official report says it was an accident." Eric ran his hand through his short brown hair. "And now they've put me, a human captain with no high command experience, in charge of facing this void." The door to his office slid open again, a massive reptilian being ducked to enter the room. Scales in deep green and gold covered its body, and vertical pupils narrowed as they fixed on Eric. "Supreme Commander," the being said, voice deep and rumbling. "I am General Julak, your Chief of Strategy." Eric straightened his posture. He recognized Julak by reputation, a decorated Krath warrior with over a century of military service. "General," Eric said with a nod, "I imagine you have thoughts about my appointment." Julak's mouth stretched in what might have been a smile, revealing rows of sharp teeth. "I have served the legions for 90 years, human. I expected to lead them after Gurin. So yes, I have thoughts." "I didn't ask for this position," Eric said. "Yet here you stand," Julak replied, "while the greatest threat in 1,000 years approaches." The door opened once more, admitting a human man with graying hair at his temples. He wore the uniform of the Legion Engineering Corps. "Commander Mason," he said with a quick salute. "Commander Sam Powell, Engineering Division. Sorry I'm late. I was reviewing our fleet readiness reports." He nodded to the others. "Kate, Nira, General." Eric felt a small relief at seeing another human face among his command staff. "What's our current status, Commander Powell?" Sam's expression grew grim. "Not good. We have 3,400 vessels combat ready, but they're spread across 2,000 light years of space. We'd need at least 6 days to gather even half our forces." "And the Void?" Eric asked. Nira touched the screen again, showing the movement of the dark mass. "At current speed, it will reach the Proxima colony in 4 days." Eric felt the weight of countless lives settle onto his shoulders. A human colony would be the first to face this threat. "How did Commander Guran plan to fight this thing?" he asked. Julak rumbled. "Standard Legion protocol for unknown threats of this magnitude is to establish a containment perimeter and sacrifice outlying systems if necessary." "Sacrifice," Eric repeated. "You mean abandon them?" "The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few," Julak said. "This is Council doctrine." Eric looked at each face in the room. "Well, I'm not the Council, and I'm not leaving any system to die without a fight." Julak's scales bristled. "With respect, Commander, that is exactly why humans are considered too emotional for high command. Sometimes sacrifice is necessary." "We don't know enough about this enemy," Eric countered. "We need information before we decide anyone is expendable." He turned to Kate. "Lieutenant Winters, I want you to take our fastest scout ship to the edge of the affected zone. Get as close as you safely can and gather data." Kate nodded. "Yes, sir." "Powell, begin mobilizing all ships within 2 days' travel of Proxima." "That's only about 20% of our forces," Sam warned. "It's what we have," Eric said. "Nira, I need everything the Council knows about the Void. Everything, not just what they've decided to share." Nira hesitated. "Some information is classified by Council directive." Eric met her gaze steadily. "I'm Supreme Commander now. Either I get full access, or we all fail together." Julak made a sound between a growl and a laugh. "Perhaps there is something interesting about you after all, human." Eric looked back at the darkness on the screen. "Let's hope it's enough." 3 days later, Eric stood on the bridge of the Legion flagship Invictus, watching the tactical display with growing despair. The first battle against the Void had been a disaster. "Pull back the remaining ships," he ordered. "Get them out of there now." Sam Powell nodded grimly and relayed the command. On the screen, the few surviving Legion vessels broke away from the expanding darkness. "We lost 23 ships," Julak reported, his reptilian face unreadable. "Over 4,000 crew members." Eric closed his eyes briefly. The Proxima colony evacuation was still underway. They had managed to get most of the colonists out, but the planet would be consumed within hours. "Our weapons had no effect," Sam said, reviewing the data. "Energy beams, missiles, nothing seemed to touch it." The door to the bridge slid open, and Kate rushed in, her uniform rumpled, and dark circles under her eyes. She had returned from her scouting mission just before the battle. "Sir," she said to Eric, "I need to show you something from my scans." Eric nodded and followed her to a side console. She pulled up a series of readings that meant little to him. "What am I looking at, Lieutenant?" "Dimensional patterns," she said. "The void isn't just darkness. It's like a tear between realities. But look here." She pointed to a regular pattern in the chaos. "That's not natural. Something is controlling it." Eric studied the readings. "Can we use this information somehow?" "Maybe," Kate said. "But we need an expert. I know someone who might help. Dr. Olivia Reyes. She was developing theories on dimensional physics before the Council shut down her research." "Shut it down? Why?" "They said her methods were dangerously unproven. But I think she was onto something the Council didn't want discovered." Eric thought for a moment. "Get her here. Now." 2 hours later, a small woman with curly black hair and intense eyes stood on the bridge, staring at Kate's readings with growing excitement. "This confirms everything," Dr. Rice said. "The void is manipulating dimensional space. It's not destroying matter. It's shifting it somewhere else." "Can we stop it?" Eric asked. "Maybe," she said, "but not with conventional weapons. I need access to a lab and engineers." Eric looked at Sam. "Commander Powell, give Dr. Rice whatever she needs." Sam nodded. "Yes, sir." "The Council will not approve of this," Julak warned. Dr. Rice's theories were rejected for good reason. "What reason?" Eric asked. "They challenge fundamental Council scientific doctrine," Nira explained, speaking for the first time since entering the bridge. "If she's right, much of what the elder races have taught is wrong." "I don't care about doctrine," Eric said. "I care about saving lives." A communication officer called out, "Sir, incoming transmission from the Council." The main screen changed to show the Zentari representative, crystal body glinting. "Commander Mason," the alien said, "we have reviewed your battle tactics. You failed to follow standard containment protocol and wasted valuable ships trying to save a single colony." Eric stepped forward. "Those wasted ships bought time to evacuate 15,000 people. Emotional decisions, as expected from a human," the Zentari said. "You will now implement the approved strategy. Establish a defensive line at the Arcturus sector and sacrifice the outer systems." Eric felt anger rising in his chest. "With all due respect, Counselor, that strategy guarantees the loss of 12 more colonies. I have a different approach." "You do not have the authority to." "As Supreme Commander, I do," Eric interrupted. "You gave me this position. Either trust me to do the job, or remove me." A tense silence followed. "We will observe your approach," the Zentari finally said. "But the Council expects results, Commander." The transmission ended. Julak looked at Eric with new interest. Challenging the Council directly is unexpected. "Sometimes you need to break the rules to win," Eric said. He turned to Dr. Reyes. "How quickly can you develop something to fight the void?" She smiled. "With Commander Powell's help. Give me 2 days." "You have 1," Eric said. "Because that's when the void reaches the next colony." Eric hadn't slept in 30 hours when Nira entered his office. The Meridian placed a data crystal on his desk without speaking. "What's this?" he asked, picking it up. Council records, Nira said quietly. Classified ones. Access to them would cost me my position, or worse. Eric studied her silver eyes. Why risk it? Because I believe you might actually save us, she replied. The crystal contains reports dating back 20 years. The council knew about the void long before they admitted. Eric inserted the crystal into his terminal. Pages of data filled his screen. Reports of strange readings, missing exploration ships, and dark anomalies. They've been tracking this thing for decades, he said in disbelief. Why hide it? Keep reading, Nira urged. Eric scrolled through the documents until he found internal council communications. What he read made his blood run cold. They knew it was coming toward populated systems, and did nothing, he asked. Nira's voice was flat. Some council members believed the void might solve a problem for them. What problem? Newer species gaining too much influence. Humans, specifically. She touched the screen, highlighting a passage. Notice which colony worlds were in the projected path. Eric's jaw tightened. All human settlements. They were going to sacrifice our worlds. The door chimed, and Nira quickly removed the crystal. Sam and Dr. Rice entered, both looking tired but excited. We've got something, Sam announced. Dr. Rice set a small device on Eric's desk. We call it a dimensional anchor. It creates a field that prevents the void from shifting matter out of our reality. Will it stop the void? Eric asked. Not entirely, she admitted, but it might create a safe zone within it, like a bubble of normal space. If we can project this field around a ship, Sam added, we could potentially enter the void itself. Eric considered this. How soon can we test it? The prototype is ready now, Dr. Rice said, but it can only generate a small field. I'll test it myself, Eric decided. Sam looked alarmed. Sir, as Supreme Commander, you shouldn't. I won't send anyone into that thing if I'm not willing to go myself, Eric said firmly. Before anyone could argue further, an urgent message came through. Kate's face appeared on the screen. Commander, she said, her voice tense. I found something during my scouting mission that I couldn't transmit earlier. There's a pattern to how the void moves. It's deliberately targeting certain systems. Human colonies, Eric said. Kate looked surprised. Yes. How did you know? We just found evidence the Council was aware of this, Eric replied. Keep this information secure, Lieutenant. Return to the Invictus immediately. After ending the transmission, Eric turned to Nira. I need to know everything about the Council race's history. Are there records of them encountering anything like the void before? Such records would be in the ancient archives, she said. Access is restricted to Council members only. Find a way, Eric said. Sam, prepare a scout ship with Dr. Rice's device. We launch in 3 hours. Later, as Eric prepared for the mission, Julek entered his quarters. You're going to enter the void yourself, the Krath general stated. Yes, Eric replied, checking his equipment. The Council has ordered me to stop you, Julek said. They claim your actions endanger the entire response strategy. Eric turned to face the reptilian warrior. And will you follow those orders, General? Julek was silent for a long moment. 20 years ago, a Krath colony disappeared. The Council called it a stellar accident. I lost my entire family. His vertical pupils narrowed. If the Council lied about that. They did, Eric said quietly. Julek straightened to his full height. Then I will not stop you. But I will accompany you. Eric hadn't expected this. Why? Because if you are right about the Council, then perhaps I have been wrong about humans. Julek's scaled hand moved to the ceremonial blade at his belt. And if we are to die, I would rather do so fighting than retreating. The small scout ship approached the edge of the void. Through the viewport, Eric saw stars blink out one by one as the darkness expanded. Beside him, Julek watched silently. Dr. Rice monitored the dimensional anchor device, which hummed softly in the center of the ship. Approaching void boundary in 30 seconds, announced the ship's computer. Activate the anchor, Eric ordered. Dr. Reyes nodded and pressed a sequence of controls. The device glowed with blue light, and a shimmering field expanded around the ship. Field is stable, she reported, but I can't guarantee how long it will hold once we're inside. 20 seconds to contact, the computer said. Julek gripped his seat. In my culture, we have a saying, honor comes to those who face darkness without flinching. Eric gave a tight smile. On Earth, we just say, here goes nothing. The darkness enveloped them. For a moment, the viewports showed only empty blackness. Then, strange lights began to flicker in the distance, swirling colors that had no names in human language. The field is holding, Dr. Rice said, her voice filled with wonder. We're maintaining our position in normal space while inside the void. Eric checked the sensors. Are we recording everything? Yes, she confirmed. But the readings are incredible. This isn't empty space. It's filled with energy patterns I've never seen before. Julek pointed at something outside. Look there. In the distance, they could see structures, massive shapes that seemed to float in the darkness. They weren't ships or stations, but something else entirely. Can we get closer? Eric asked. Dr. Reyes looked uncertain. The field should hold, but the ship suddenly shuddered. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. Something's probing our field, Dr. Reyes said urgently. It's like the void is aware of us. The ship shook again, more violently this time. A crack appeared in the blue energy field surrounding them. We need to leave, Eric decided. We have enough data for now. As he turned the ship around, the sensors picked up something new. A massive energy surge heading straight for them. Brace for impact, Eric shouted. The energy wave hit them with tremendous force. The dimensional anchor sparked and smoked. The ship spun wildly as Eric fought for control. Field integrity at 30%, Dr. Reyes called out. We're losing it. Just as the field was about to collapse, Eric managed to pilot the ship back across the boundary. They burst out of the darkness and into normal space, trailing smoke and sparks. Engine damage, but we'll make it back, Eric reported, checking the systems. Dr. Reyes was already reviewing the data they had collected. Commander, you need to see this, she said, her voice shaking slightly. On her screen was an analysis of the energy patterns within the void. There was a clear organization to them, not random chaos, but a deliberate structure. It's like a language, she said. The void isn't just destroying, it's communicating. Julek leaned forward. Communicating what? Before she could answer, the ship's communication system activated. Nira's face appeared on the screen. Commander, return to the Invictus immediately, she said, her silver eyes wide with urgency. I found something in the ancient archives. The Council is hiding it, but I managed to access a sealed section. She lowered her voice. The void has been here before, thousands of years ago. And the Council races know exactly what it is. What is it? Eric asked. Not over this channel, Nira replied. But there's more. Kate Winters returned from her mission with something important. The Council tried to detain her, but she escaped and is hiding on the Invictus. What did she find? Eric demanded. Evidence that the void isn't a natural phenomenon, Nira said. It was created as a weapon. The transmission suddenly cut off. An alarm sounded, and Eric looked up to see 3 large Council warships moving to intercept their small vessel. It seems, Julek said grimly, that we have learned something the Council wished to keep secret. Eric engaged the engines to maximum power. And now they want to make sure we never share it. Eric pushed the damaged scout ship to its limits. Behind them, the 3 Council warships closed in quickly. They're charging weapons, Julek reported. Can we outrun them? Dr. Rice asked. Eric shook his head. Not in this condition. He opened a communication channel to the Invictus. Commander Powell, We need immediate extraction. Lock onto our position. Sam's voice came through with static. Already on it, sir. Invictus is moving to intercept. Hold on for 4 minutes. We may not have 4 minutes. Eric muttered as he made a sharp turn to avoid an energy blast from the Lid Council ship. Another blast grazed their hull. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. They're not trying to disable us, Julak observed. They mean to destroy us. Eric made another evasive maneuver. Dr. Reyes, can we use the dimensional anchor somehow? She looked up from the smoking device. It's damaged, but maybe we can create a small field behind us. If they hit it, their weapons might be displaced into the void. Do it, Eric ordered. Dr. Reyes worked quickly, rewiring the damaged device. The ship rocked from another near miss. Ready, she announced. But it will only work once before burning out completely. Eric waited until all 3 council ships were lined up behind them. Now, Dr. Rice activated the anchor. A small patch of darkness appeared behind their ship. The lead council vessel fired directly into it. Instead of hitting Eric's ship, the energy beam disappeared into the darkness. Then something unexpected happened. The patch of void expanded rapidly, engulfing the front section of the lead council ship. The warship's front half simply vanished, cut clean away. The remaining section spun out of control, forcing the other 2 ships to break formation. 2 minutes to rendezvous with Invictus, the computer announced. Soon, the massive form of the Legion flagship appeared ahead of them. Its hangar bay opened to receive their small craft. Once aboard, Kate Winters rushed to meet them. Commander, thank God you made it. The council ships, Eric asked as they hurried from a hangar. Holding position outside our weapons range, Kate reported. But they've sent a message demanding we surrender you and Dr. Reyes immediately. They reached the bridge, where Nira waited with Sam. The Meridian held a small, ancient-looking device. This is what I found in the archives, she said. It's a data storage unit from before the founding of the Council. It contains the truth about the Void. What truth? Eric asked. Nira activated the device. A holographic image appeared, showing a star system unlike any in known space. Strange structures orbited the planets, evidence of an incredibly advanced civilization. They were called the Precursors, Nira explained. They existed billions of years ago, before any of our species had achieved space travel. The hologram changed to show massive ships attacking the precursor worlds. The founding council races, the Zentari, Krath, and Arxians, were not the first advanced species in the galaxy. Nira continued. The precursors were, and the council ancestors destroyed them in a war of extermination. Julak's scales bristled. That contradicts everything in our historical records. Because the council erased that history, Kate added. She produced a data crystal of her own. I found this in the ruins of an outpost at the edge of Void territory. It's a message from the precursors. She inserted the crystal into the ship's computer. Strange symbols appeared, then translated into words. If you are reading this, then our final defense has activated. We knew our destroyers would one day expand beyond the safe limits we established. The Void is not meant for vengeance, but for balance. It will reclaim all that was taken unjustly. Silence fell across the bridge. The Void isn't an attack, Eric said slowly. It's a safeguard. The precursors created it to activate if the council races expanded too far. And now it's consuming human worlds because we allied with the council, Sam concluded. The ship's alarm suddenly blared. On the main screen, they saw 10 more council warships appear from faster-than-light travel. They've come to silence us, Nira said quietly. Eric straightened his uniform and faced his officers. Send everything we've learned to every Legion ship and colony world. The council has hidden the truth long enough. Eric pushed the damaged scout ship to its limits. Behind them, the 3 council warships closed in quickly. They're charging weapons, Shulak reported. Can we outrun them? Dr. Rice asked. Eric shook his head. Not in this condition. He opened a communication channel to the Invictus. "Commander Powell, we need immediate extraction. Lock onto our position." Sam's voice came through with static. "Already on it, sir. Invictus is moving to intercept. Hold on for 4 minutes." "We may not have 4 minutes," Eric muttered as he made a sharp turn to avoid an energy blast from the Lid Council ship. Another blast grazed their hull. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. "They're not trying to disable us," Julak observed. "They mean to destroy us." Eric made another evasive maneuver. "Dr. Reyes, can we use the dimensional anchor somehow?" She looked up from the smoking device. "It's damaged, but maybe we can create a small field behind us. If they hit it, their weapons might be displaced into the void." "Do it," Eric ordered. Dr. Reyes worked quickly, rewiring the damaged device. The ship rocked from another near miss. "Ready," she announced. "But it will only work once before burning out completely." Eric waited until all 3 council ships were lined up behind them. Now, Dr. Reyes activated the anchor. A small patch of darkness appeared behind their ship. The lead council vessel fired directly into it. Instead of hitting Eric's ship, the energy beam disappeared into the darkness. Then something unexpected happened. The patch of void expanded rapidly, engulfing the front section of the lead council ship. The warship's front half simply vanished, cut clean away. The remaining section spun out of control, forcing the other 2 ships to break formation. 2 minutes to rendezvous with Invictus, the computer announced. Soon, the massive form of the Legion flagship appeared ahead of them. Its hangar bay opened to receive their small craft. Once aboard, Kate Winters rushed to meet them. "Commander, thank God you made it." "The council ships?" Eric asked as they hurried from the hangar. "Holding position outside our weapons range," Kate reported. "But they've sent a message demanding we surrender you and Dr. Reyes immediately." They reached the bridge, where Nira waited with Sam. The Meridian held a small, ancient-looking device. "This is what I found in the archives," she said. "It's a data storage unit from before the founding of the Council. It contains the truth about the Void." "What truth?" Eric asked. Nira activated the device. A holographic image appeared, showing a star system unlike any in known space. Strange structures orbited the planets, evidence of an incredibly advanced civilization. "They were called the Precursors," Nira explained. "They existed billions of years ago, before any of our species had achieved space travel." The hologram changed to show massive ships attacking the precursor worlds. The founding council races, the Zentari, Krath, and Arxians, were not the first advanced species in the galaxy, Nira continued. The precursors were. And the council ancestors destroyed them in a war of extermination. Julak's scales bristled. "That contradicts everything in our historical records." "Because the council erased that history," Kate added. She produced a data crystal of her own. "I found this in the ruins of an outpost at the edge of Void territory. It's a message from the precursors." She inserted the crystal into the ship's computer. Strange symbols appeared, then translated into words. "If you are reading this, then our final defense has activated. We knew our destroyers would one day expand beyond the safe limits we establish. The Void is not meant for vengeance, but for balance. It will reclaim all that was taken unjustly." Silence fell across the bridge. "The Void isn't an attack," Eric said slowly. "It's a safeguard. The precursors created it to activate if the council races expanded too far. And now it's consuming human worlds because we allied with the council," Sam concluded. The ship's alarm suddenly blared. On the main screen, they saw 10 more council warships appear from faster-than-light travel. "They've come to silence us," Nira said quietly. Eric straightened his uniform and faced his officers. "Send everything we've learned to every Legion ship and colony world. The Council has hidden the truth long enough." "Ready," Dr. Reyes called from the engineering station. She and Sam had worked frantically to modify the ship's systems. Eric nodded. "Activated." A strange energy field formed around the Invictus, different from anything they had used before. The darkness of the void surrounded them completely now, but instead of keeping it out, the field was bringing it in, creating a space where both realities could exist together. The bridge lights flickered. The air shimmered with strange colors. And then something appeared before them, a figure of light and energy, vaguely humanoid in shape. "Is that?" Kate whispered. "A precursor," Nira confirmed. "Or at least, how they exist now." The being of light regarded them silently. Eric stepped forward. "We know who you are," he said. "We know what happened to your people. The Council today is not responsible for what their ancestors did." The figure tilted its head, as if considering. When it spoke, the words seemed to form directly in their minds. "The pattern repeats. The strong destroy the weak. Nothing changes." "We can change it," Eric insisted. "Humanity isn't like the old Council. We value diversity, cooperation. Yet you serve them," the being responded. "We didn't know the truth," Eric said. "But now we do. And we're not serving them anymore." Outside the ship, they could see the Council fleet firing uselessly at the expanding darkness. More ships were disappearing into the void. "What happens to the ships you take?" Eric asked. "They are preserved," the being answered. "As we were preserved, neither living nor dead. Waiting." "For what?" Eric asked. "For justice." Eric took a deep breath. "Revenge won't bring justice. It only creates more victims. If you truly are our ancestors, then show us a better way." The being seemed to study Eric more closely. "You are different. Your patterns, familiar." Dr. Reyes stepped forward. "The genetic markers, they recognized them." The ship shuddered as the modified field began to fail. "We can't maintain this connection much longer," Sam warned. Eric looked directly at the light being. "Stop the expansion of the void. Let us build something new, a true alliance of all species, including yours. Return from your exile. Help us create the galaxy you envisioned before you were destroyed." For a long moment, the precursor was silent. Then it raised a hand of light. "We will observe. One chance." The figure vanished. The field collapsed. Normal lighting returned to the bridge. "The void," Kate said, looking at the sensors. It stopped expanding. On the main screen, they could see the darkness had halted its advance. The Council ships that hadn't been taken were regrouping, clearly confused. "Sir," the communication officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from inside the void." "Put it through," Eric ordered. The screen showed the interior of a Council warship. The Zentari representative stood there, looking shaken. We are unharmed," the crystal being said. "We are inside something. A vast space. There are others here, ships taken centuries ago. And the precursors. They wish to speak with you, Commander Mason." Eric exchanged looks with his officers. "Tell them I'm on my way." 3 days later, Eric stood in the Council chamber. But it was vastly different now. Along with the 13 Council representatives, there were new seats, for humans, for other younger species, and for the precursors themselves, who had taken physical form once more. "The old Council is dissolved," announced the Zentari, humbled by recent events. "In its place, we established the Galactic Union, where all species have equal voice." Eric, no longer just Supreme Commander of the Starborn legions, but now humanity's first representative to this new union, looked out at the gathered beings. Old enemies sat beside new allies. The void had retreated, releasing those it had taken while maintaining its vigil at the galaxy's edge, a reminder of the past and a guardian of the future. "Our ancestors believed in cooperation, not dominance," said the precursor representative. "Today, we begin again." Eric thought of his unlikely journey, from a simple patrol captain to the person who had helped reshape the galaxy. He caught Shulak's eye, and the reptilian warrior gave him a respectful nod. It was just the beginning.